International news today, June 1st, 2025. PSG wins long-awaited fourth Champions League trophy with 5-0 win over Inter Milan. Hamas makes hostage pledge but demands changes to US Gaza ceasefire plan. Saudi Arabia says it will jointly fund Syrian state salaries with Qatar. Trump's foreign policy frustrations are piling up. Summary of the news. PSG wins long-awaited fourth Champions League trophy with 5-0 win over Inter Milan. Paris Saint-Germain made history by winning their first ever Champions League title with a dominant 5-0 victory over Inter Milan in Munich, the largest margin in the competition's final history. Achraf Hakimi opened the scoring early, followed by 2 goals from 19-year-old Desire Doué, a strike from Vicha Kvaratskhelia, and a late goal by fellow teenager Seny Mayulu. The win marked an emotional milestone for manager Luis Enrique, whose late daughter Xana was honored with a touching tifo by PSG fans. Celebrations erupted across Paris, from the Parc des Princes to the Champs-Élysées, as tens of thousands of fans marked the historic night. Amid the joy, Ousmane Dembele urged supporters to keep festivities peaceful, with thousands of police deployed throughout the city. Hamas makes hostage pledge but demands changes to US Gaza ceasefire plan. Hamas has responded to a US ceasefire proposal by offering to release 10 living and 18 dead Israeli hostages in exchange for an unspecified number of Palestinian prisoners. While requesting amendments to the deal, the group reaffirmed its core demands: a permanent ceasefire, full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, and uninterrupted humanitarian aid, none of which are included in the current proposal. US envoy Steve Witkoff called Hamas's response totally unacceptable and urged the group to accept the existing framework, which he claims could lead to a 60-day ceasefire and the start of proximity talks. Israel has already agreed to the deal, according to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office, but remains opposed to any arrangement that will prevent it from resuming military operations. Netanyahu insists the war will end only if Hamas disarms, relinquishes power, and its leaders leave Gaza. Hamas official Bassem Naim accused the US of favoring Israel in negotiations, claiming that a prior agreement was undermined by Israeli objections. On the ground, the humanitarian toll continues to mount. Saudi Arabia says it will jointly fund Syrian state salaries with Qatar. Saudi Arabia and Qatar have announced they will jointly provide financial support to Syrian state employees. The announcement was made by Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud during a press conference in Damascus with Syria's Foreign Minister Assad Al-Shibani. Qatar has committed to providing $29 million per month for 3 months to pay public sector salaries, and both Gulf nations recently cleared Syria's $15 million debt to the World Bank. These moves come amid easing sanctions from the United States and the European Union, which are helping Syria reintegrate into the global economy. Syria's interim government, led by President Ahmed al-Sharaa, is working to rebuild diplomatic relations and focus on reconstruction and economic recovery. The World Bank has resumed operations in Syria, starting with projects to improve electricity access, a key factor in restoring essential services. Despite these efforts, Syria faces enormous challenges, including widespread poverty, high unemployment, and an economy less than half the size it was before the war. A UNDP report warned that without major investment, it could take over 50 years for Syria to return to its pre-war economic level. Trump's foreign policy frustrations are piling up. Donald Trump's presidency was marked by a strong sense of personal power and ambition to reshape global politics, but his efforts largely fell short. While he tried to pressure tech companies, courts, and institutions like Harvard, major world leaders such as Russia's Putin, China's Xi Jinping, and even Israel's Netanyahu resisted or ignored his demands. Putin defied US efforts over Ukraine. China did not meet trade war commitments, and Netanyahu prioritized his own political survival over Trump's Middle East plans. Trump's style of aggressive diplomacy and America's false populism ended up undermining US influence globally. as other nations prioritized their own interests and saw him as less powerful than he believed. His predecessors, Bush, Obama, and Biden, also faced challenges in shaping the world despite grand ambitions, showing that global leadership is complex and not easily controlled by any one president. Ultimately, Trump's approach fractured US soft power and revealed the limits of presidential influence in international affairs. Follow for more. June 1st, 2025.